Hey there, Katya over here, telling you my 3 favorite movies. Now, I really have to say, I don't know that I could pick a favorite star in the heavens if I could pick a favorite movie. So picking the top 3 is very difficult. These are just 3 of my favorites in a long list of many, many favorites. I worked for Blockbuster for years, so I'm crazy about movies. Grew up on them, watched way too many, and would have trouble making a top 50 movies. So here goes my top 3. Number 1, which technically is actually 3 movies, but I'm gonna say it should only be seen as 1. Star Wars. The original Star Wars saga. All 3 of them are amazing, and if you're gonna watch one, you should really watch all 3, so we're just gonna call it one movie for argument's sake. In that, of course, there's Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Luke Skywalker, and they are fighting against the Imperials and Darth Vader and the Emperor, and they're gonna save the galaxy from him. This is one of my favorite sci-fi series and movies of all time. They do such a great job with all the costuming, with all the technology. Everything looks amazing. The story is fantastic. The aliens are great. And it's just a movie that you can watch again and again and again. I've probably watched these movies over 15 times each just because I was such a nut about it. What I found shocking though is that when George Lucas was looking to get money to make these movies, tons of studios turned him down. They said that no one's going to go to see these movies in theaters. Why would we give you money? 3 weeks after the movies came out, 20th Century Fox stock doubled, which was a record at that time. A little fun fact I found out also while reading, Mark Hamill said that for a while, the studio execs wanted Chewie to have a costume. They were worried that him being naked was too lewd. So they tried and tried, but they couldn't really find anything that looked good. So they ended up just sticking with how he was. I think that's the better decision. He looks good. He's like, it's like a dog. You shouldn't be dressing your dog up, should you? Come now. So that's 1. Star Wars. All 3 of them, because they're amazing. Second is Fight Club. David Fincher, he makes such dark movies that are so interesting, comment on society, and I love them. Of course, in that you have Edward Norton, you have Helena Bonham Carter, and you have Brad Pitt doing fantastic performances. It follows an insomniac office worker who ends up starting a fight club, an underground fight club, and then a violent revolt against society with the help of Brad Pitt. Has an amazing twist, has great special effects, and has little things that if you watch the movie again and again and again, you notice things come together, and it is amazing. Something interesting that I found out is that it wasn't always going to be Helena Bonham Carter. They were looking at Winona Ryder and Reese Witherspoon as well. It ended up coming down to just Reese and Helena. And the studio wanted Reese Witherspoon because she was a bigger name, but David Fincher wanted Helena because she just would play a darker character so much better than Reese Witherspoon, who to me is a girl next door. Eventually Fincher won, which I'm so happy about, in a sense, because Reese Witherspoon decided that it was too dark for a role for her to be playing anyways. Love that movie. Chuck Palahniuk is amazing. He's also a great author, and he actually has gotten that idea of making Fight Club because he went camping, he got in a fight. When he came back to work, he had bruises and no one commented on them. Everyone at work would just ignore them and be like, how are you? As if they didn't happen, and that fascinated him. So he based this book on society and how it blocks from trying to have an actual connection with people, which I found to be very neat as well. Finally, my 3rd movie, which I wanted to be something more light, something the whole family can enjoy, is Monsters, Inc. I love that movie. Pixar does such a great job with their movies. Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Up, WALL-E, all wonderful movies, all movies that adults and children alike can enjoy. Billy Crystal, of course, lends his voice as Mike, although apparently originally they were thinking it was going to be Bill Murray. John Goodman is Sully, the great lovable big teddy bear with the beautiful fuzzy hair. Apparently he has over 2 million hairs. It took 11 to 12 hours in order for them to render each frame that he was on in that movie. And Steve Buscemi is the snaky little bad guy in this. It takes place in a world where the scarers, which is Sully, have to scare little children. They bottle their screams and they use that for electricity. The city is powered on children's screams. Now what's funny though, and what's kind of a twist, is that the monsters are actually afraid of the children. They're worried they'll get infected by them in some way. So the worst thing to happen would be if a child escaped into their world. And of course that's what happens, and it's up to Mike and Sully to get the kid back into its world, or our world I guess, before anything else happens. Of course, hilarity ensues. Of course, at the end, there's a little bit of a ah, and I love this movie. There's also a fun little fact about that movie is that there are little parts throughout where they mention, for instance, a shop, it'll say Pete's Shop, and that's supposed to be the director's name. They also have the artistic director's name on the art store. And they make an homage to Harry Hossman, who was a man who made Jason and the Argonauts. So he did a lot of stop motion monster films back in the day. Another one that he did was It Came From Beneath the Sea, and there was an octopus in that. And due to budget cuts, they couldn't make 8 tentacles. They only made 6, and the octopus in the Harry Hossman restaurant actually only has 6 tentacles. So there's a bunch of little things like that that if you know your movie trivia or if you've read up on it, you find them extra funny as well. But even barring all that, if you don't know those things, this movie is a great one for everyone to watch. So those are my 3. Star Wars, all 3 of them, Fight Club, and Monsters, Inc. If you haven't seen them for some reason, you should definitely be watching them. Those are my favorites. Catherine Giove, 3 favorites. Thanks so much.